Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day.
It's not only a brand new day, it's a brand new champion coming up soon in Liar's Night in Idle Champions After Forgotten Realms. Cheers everyone, I'm your Dystopian Keeper. The King of Shadows. Well, the King of Shadows is not exactly new. The King of Shadows is the antagonist of Neverwinter Nights. I'm going to talk you through, well, first of all, a little bit through his lore, and then through his official Spotlight, CNE-Spotlight, that I will link in the description down below. Well, the King of Shadows. Where to begin? With the dwarf named Aeneas, maybe? He once created what would become the King of Shadows, a guardian for the great Elephant Empire, an empire founded on the rather peculiar friendship of dwarves and elves. The guardian itself was once a man, a human. That makes this friendship even stranger, I think. This man, he gave up everything. Even his name was lost to time. But he became the perfect protector. There was no pride, no ambition, nothing that could stand in the way of his duty. He drew his strength from the weave itself, and he was meant to guard Elephant for all eternity, and most probably beyond. But every good story needs a plot twist. Disaster struck. When Khazus tried to steal divinity from Mistral, the goddess of magic, the weave vanished for a very brief moment. And it was in that moment that the Guardian faced an almost impossible choice. To die, leaving Elephant defenseless, or to reach for an even darker power. And he chose the Shadow Weave, and boy, it twisted him badly. It turned him into a creature of shadow and hunger, draining the very life from all around him. In Idle Champions, it's only the adjacent champions, so no worries. It's still bad, though. Well, the people of Elephant, however, they soon saw the corruption. They tried to destroy him. They tried to destroy the former Guardian. But to that Guardian, anyone who raised a hand against him was an enemy of Elephant. He was the protector of Elephant, so everyone who opposes him was a sworn enemy of Elephant for him. The result? Ruin. He destroyed them all, the very people he was made and he swore to protect. But before the end, they forced him into the plane of shadow. Second plot twist. We was locked away for at least centuries. Now he seeks to return into Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. Oh, he's still bound to duty that in fact no longer has a purpose. Because Elephant Elephant is long gone. And yet the King of Shadows, he just cannot let go. And his hunger has only grown. Now he commands legions of spectral shadow reavers. Hope they look amazing. Building powers of darkness beyond imagining. And it grows in size, by the way, in game. But his warped sense of purpose drives him to engulf the entire Neverwinter lands and perhaps the whole world in eternal night. He's not only a fallen guardian, he's in fact the very embodiment of corrupted power. Let's talk about his spotlight that I will link once again in the description down below. The King of Shadows sits on seat 9. That's sadly Maker's seat. Blocking Driss, Jaheira, Birdsong, Diana. Well, seat 9. He is 1,750 years old. He's lawful evil. He's in fact quite the embodiment of lawful evil. He's following rules, but he's doing that in a very evil way. He's a barbarian and a warlock. He's still human, but counts as undead. We'll talk about that later. He's a DPS, tanking and a support champion, and he has probably the highest total ability points in game, 112. He's eligible for Murd, Batra, Strahd, Sariel and Elminster until October the 1st, 2028, in 3 years. His basic attack is the Shadow Strike. That's both a melee and a magic attack. He slashes the closest enemies and then blasts the enemies with the most health. I like that. His passive abilities. The King of Shadows is undead and counts as that for the purposes of effects that care about dead champions. Desmond, Lament the Loss comes to mind, but alive for all other purposes. Second passive ability is his phase 1, the Watcher. When you complete an area with the King of Shadows leading the formation from the front, tanking position, whoop, lost the window. He updates his current toughness and brutality stacks, we'll talk about those later, to the completed area number. So right now that would be 163. Let's speed things up here, by the way. Yeah, doing a Wolfgar Timegate adventure. Free one. Good. When the King of Shadow is defeated for the first time, he immediately returns to full health. His toughness stacks no longer update, and he enters phase 2. When the King of Shadow is defeated for the second time, he immediately returns to full health again. This guy is persistent. And his brutality stacks now no longer update. And he enters phase 3. His size increases by 25% each time he enters a new phase. So 3 times, growing 25% each time. It's going to be pretty big. Bigger than Aberrin, I think. Other abilities grant additional buffs upon gaining these new phases. His formation abilities. Goodness, my hair is getting in the way. Power of the King. That's straightforward, I like that. The King of Shadow increases the damage of himself and champions in the 2 columns behind him by 100%. Pretty straightforward. This is increased by 100% each time the King of Shadow's max health is doubled, stacking multiplicatively. And stacking multiplicatively, that goes up pretty quickly. This next formation ability is the Shadow Plague. The King of Shadow damages all adjacent champions for 4% of their max health each second, as long as the champions have at least 20% of their max health remaining. That's pretty vampiric. Each time the King of Shadows successfully deals damage in this manner, so every second basically, as long as he has adjacent champions to him that he can drain life from, he gains a Shadow Plague stack. Each Shadow Plague stack increases his own max health by 4%, stacking additively. Stacks cap at 250 and reset when changing areas. Well, let that sink in. Phase 2, the Warden. After the King of Shadows enters Phase 2, his health is increased by 1% for each toughness stack he collected, stacking additively. He also increases the health of all other champions by 25% of his max health, and healing effects on all champions are increased by 25%. Good. Now for the Shadow Reavers. After the King of Shadows enters Phase 2, he summons a Shadow Reaver each time he uses his ultimate. An additional Shadow Reaver is summoned for every 500 toughness stacks he has. Each Shadow Reaver attacks a random enemy once every 5 seconds, dealing 5 seconds of BUD based damage. The Shadow Reavers last for 1 second plus 0.1 seconds for each toughness stack he has. Using his ultimate again before the Shadow Reavers expire causes their duration to be refreshed to max. Just thinking about how long they can remain on screen. We'll see. Will probably depend on item levels, etc. as well. Okay. Sounds interesting. Phase 3 is the Warrior. After the King of Shadow enters Phase 3, his damage is increased by 5% for each brutality stack he has, stacking multiplicatively. Again, stacking multiplicatively goes up way faster than stacking additively. His Specialization A, 2 options, Master of Pawns, increases the effect of Power of the King by 100%. Power of the King, that's when the King of Shadow increases the damage of himself and champions in the 2 columns behind him. That's always, I think, most probably always a good option. Shadows Unleashed, Specialization A option 2 increases the effect of phase 3, the warrior, by 1000%. After the King of Shadows enters phase 3, his damage is increased by 5% for each brutality stack. Stacking multiplicatively is increased by another 1000% flat. His specializations B, the Legacy of Illifarn, increases the effect of Power of the King by 100% for each elf, dwarf, half-elf, and or human champion in the formation. The Alliance of Illifarn, stacking multiplicatively. Specialization B, option 2, Embrace the Shadow Weave, increases the effect of Power of the King by 200% for each evil champion in the formation, stacking multiplicatively again. So if you can combine that with Master of Pawns, oh well, Master of Pawns only doubles the Power of King ability. But Embrace the Shadow Weaves increases the effect of Power of the King by 200% for each evil champion in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. And he is evil himself. The Rights of Survival, third option from Specializations B, increases the effect of Power of the King by 300% now for each champion with the healing role, stacking multiplicatively. But additionally, Shadow Plague no longer has a minimum health at which champions will not be damaged, and the Shadow Plague stack cap is doubled. So he basically kills adjacent champions with Rights of Survival over time. Pardon, evil laughter. Well, I like the idea. I really like it. His ultimate attack is the Cradle of Rhyme. It's a magic attack. The King of Shadows blasts all enemies with cold and necrotic energies, slowing the movement for a short while. It doesn't say anything about damage. It just says slowing the movement for a short while. We'll see. I need some coffee. His feats are a bit, let's say like that. His feats are a bit disappointing, especially his epic feats. This is Tragic Devotion. It increases the effect of Power of the King whenever his max health is doubled by 10% pre-stack. That's available in the King of Shadows Origin theme pack. And unlockable as an event reward, and I'm really not sure if that's correct. It's literally on screen. An epic feat, Taunt. Taunt as an epic feat. Increases the damage of all champions by 100%, doubling your champion's damage. And the King of Shadows attacks have a 50% chance to taunt enemies. That's an epic feat. Alright. We'll see about the feats later. There are only 2 epic feats. Well. Let's finish the last Spider Queen for this stream. And I'll see you in 4 days, 5 hours at the time of the recording. At the beginning, at least, at the beginning of Liar's Night unlocking the King of Shadows. Yay! Farideh, by the way, is going to be the reworked champions, but her spotlight isn't out yet. I'll keep you up to date. In the meantime, I think you know how it is. Everyone, have fun, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.
Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey. It's a brand new day.